السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, Ustad, I'm good. I'm very good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Bismillah, how can I help? I saw your message, but I was teaching another student at that point.
Oh,
Uh, so you said you don't have anything specific, but you want a general practice with him advice. Yeah, that's okay. If you wanted to, if you want to read in Nahawand and give you some tips, kind of different things you can do to make it even better, we could do that. Or if you had any other general questions there, let me know. Bismillah.
yeah, inshallah. I think maybe we can start with that. I'll just re maybe recite something, and then if you have any advice or improvements I can make, then inshallah you can let me know. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
Ahsan, ahsan. And when you're reading that, are you thinking of specific patterns or are you just kind of in the flow now?
I think I'm kind of in the flow. I think some patterns are like I've kind of become natural with it
Okay.
through practice, and so I think others I need to maybe practice a bit more in order for it to become natural.
Yeah. Okay. So go to Surah Mulk
Okay,
and we'll try reading and then I'll prompt you to kind of do some variations.
okay. Shall I just read from the beginning?
Yeah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير. الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور. الذي خلق سبع سماوات طباقا ما ترى في خلق الرحمن من تفاوت فارجع البصر هل ترى من فطور ثم ارجع البصر كرتين ينقلب إليك البصر خاسئا وهو حسير
Okay. Let's
ولقد
try something else a little bit. Might be a little bit more challenging. خاسئاً وهو حسير. See if you could do like a 1, 2, 3, 4 there. So ينقلب إليك البصر and then go back up and down. So one thing that you want to and you're doing well already. Everything is like very good, mashaAllah, tabarakAllah. Sometimes you want to just take the same phrase and read it over a few ways to try different variations. What that does is it gives you more flexibility in that exact same place. So it builds up like the different possibilities in your mind, right? That you could
yeah,
equally go this way or that way, right? Probably
yeah,
already you're sort of there, right? But it gives you even more
yeah,
sometimes a
definitely.
challenge because sometimes in one, for example, a phrase like this one, ينقلب إليك البصر خاسئا وهو حسير. Maybe like one way of doing it comes easily to you, and then you kind of have to push yourself to try a different way,
Yeah, yeah,
right? So
makes
you
sense.
might find that that happens, which is normal, by the way. Like it's normal that, I mean, that's part of what each individual reciter has. That like you build up that experience, and part of that experience is, as you say, cutting corners, right? Like this is the way that I do it. Why? Because it makes sense to do like in this short phrase, it makes sense to do a short pattern. It makes sense to come down instead of trying like all sorts of stuff because it's a short phrase or that's the meaning or whatever. So you're gonna have that by default, which is experience, right? It's a product, it's a good product of experience. But the not necessarily bad product of experience is also habits. Like you tend to do this sort of pattern all the time. Or now when you look at the whole page, you might say, okay, wait a sec. Most of the time I start my ayat with like 3, 2, 1, 0, 1, right? Or
Yeah,
most of the time I start every single ayah with 1, 5, right? So now, even though it sounds good at one level, like at the level of the ayah, it sounds good, but on the level of the page, it's like repetitive. That
Yeah,
every
yeah,
ayah you're starting the same way. So those are things that you kind of wouldn't really pick up earlier in the class because we don't really talk about that. But
yeah.
now when you get to this stage, then it's like the whole page or the whole section, and you can kind of zoom out and look at that as well. So try this as well. ثم ارجع البصر كرتين.
Do you want me to do one, two? Which pattern did you say? One, two, three, four, five to do?
No pattern in particular. Just start the ayah.
ثم ارجع البصر كرتين ينقلب إليك البصر خاسئا وهو حسير.
Okay. وهو حسير.
وهو حسير.
Mhm. ينقلب إليك البصر خاسي. Now we're going to go back. خاسئا وهو حسير.
ينقلب إليك البصر خاسئا وهو حسير.
Ahsant. So you see how now what you
Yeah,
might have is like in a phrase, you have one direction, like you might be going down, right? Now we added down, up, and back down, right?
yeah,
Even though it's not like a very long phrase, but that's kind of what'll separate kind of following the pattern but keeping it simple versus like more elaborate and adding more, right?
so it's kind of like,
You don't have to overdo it, right?
yeah,
You see like when you're practicing, you have the space to I could pause in the word khasiyan, which you wouldn't do in reading, but it gives you the space and time to now practice adding more of these ups and downs. And then later on when you're studying, like you're leaving Salah, for example, you might still revert back to like a simpler version,
yeah,
but at least you have some more practice under your belt. So you'll find it more and more it comes easily to you,
yeah.
right?
And
Or
I guess
comes more
in practice
naturally.
it
People
comes
say
naturally.
naturally, right?
Yeah,
Recite naturally, right? But the more you practice, the more options will come naturally to you. That's the
yeah,
idea. So
definitely.
try this again. So uh ينقلب إليك البصر خاسئا وهو حسير.
ينقلب إليك البصر خاسئا وهو حسير.
مهم. ولقد زينا السماء.
ولقد زينا السماء الدنيا بمصابيح وجعلناها رجوما للشياطين وأعتدنا لهم عذاب السعير.
أحسن.
و...
Okay, I'm gonna read ولقد زينا السماء الدنيا بمصابيح one way,
Yeah,
and then you continue وجعلناها. Okay?
okay,
And then I'll repeat it again the same way, and you change up like the way you're continuing it.
okay.
So this sort of practice will help you go from again doing it one way to now
Yeah,
like holding the same thing I posted in the group. It's like you hold one part stable.
yeah,
For
and
example,
then,
you have one pattern, and now you like practice rotating through different things. And what you'll do, this is again experience building. You'll find that if you can technically do it like say four different ways, you might find that one way is easy for you,
yeah,
and one other way sounds good, but it's a little bit more challenging. You can practice. You might find the other two ways it doesn't really work, right?
yeah,
Or it doesn't work for me, right? So
yeah.
let's try that. So ولقد زينا السماء الدنيا بمصابيح.
وجعلناها رجوما للشياطين وأعتدنا لهم عذاب السعير.
ولقد زينا السماء الدنيا بمصابيح.
وجعلناها رجوما للشياطين وأعتدنا لهم عذاب السعير.
ولقد زينا السماء الدنيا بمصابيح.
وجعلناها رجوما للشياطين وأعتدنا لهم عذاب السعير.
أحسنت. Do you know what patterns you chose, or you've
Uh,
just read?
kind of, yeah. I think some, for example, the last one, I think in between I did like a one, two, three, four, five in there.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And the
So
other, some of them,
that sort of thing you can in your own practice you can like almost you don't have to write it out. You're past that stage, but you can hold that part. So it's like 1 5 4 3 4 5, and then think about like what are a few options to continue, right? So you could have 6 5 4 6 5 وجعلناها هجوما للشياطين, right? Or you could have وجعلناها هجوما للشياطين. Or you could have, I don't know, you could have a 4 5 4 5 4 3 3 4 5 type of thing like that, right? ولقد زينا السماء الدنيا بمصابيح وجعلناها رجوما للشياطين. So you're kind of like extending the same thing. And then
Yeah.
you might, once you do all three, you might be like, wait a sec, that one where I extend the last one, it just sounds like I'm repeating the same thing for too long, and I don't like it. Right. So that's now where you start to build in preference, which is it's okay maqamat wise, it's okay
Yeah.
in terms of the pattern, but
Yeah.
you as a reciter, your preference is that it sounds too repetitive, right?
Yeah.
So you want to like do that exercise on different ayat just to build your experience more. Because what'll happen, the way you're reading is good, but if you just keep reading like that, you'll solidify more of the same,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? Because you'll over a longer section, like the types of patterns that you do, like you'll do more of that over a longer thing. Whereas if you pause and kind of go over the same eye in different ways, like you'll end up trying different things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then yeah, I understand. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Also, what I've
Okay.
realized, sorry, because I used to listen to quite a lot of Mustafa Ismail, so I tend to do where he at certain points he has a peak, and then sometimes he just has a drop as well.
Yes,
Some
yes.
I tend to like kind of add that in naturally, but yeah, I think that's a positive thing. I think.
No, that's good. That's good. That comes with experience, right? That comes with listening experience. That now, when, especially when you can take your listening experience and line it up with the theory behind it, right?
Yeah,
You'll notice he does a lot of drops, like especially on the med at the end, right? Med
yeah,
adl sukun, for example. If I say, uh, what's this? وأعتدنا لهم عذاب السعير, right? So instead of coming down, وأعتدنا لهم عذاب السعير, which is one way, right? He might keep it at the 5 and drop. وأعتدنا لهم عذاب السعير. That sort of
yeah,
sound, which is just ah. Can you hear it? It's the same 5 3 2 5 4 3 2 1, but it's all being done in that space. So that's another thing in terms of kind of layering up your recitation is finding these places. So you have we did it actually last Saturday, right? In the that I showed you in الذين يخشون ربهم. So like the noon mushaddad, you can add a 1 2 3 4 in there. Like lahum maghfirah. You could do something in that mim mushaddad. You have إن الذين يخشون ربهم بالغيب. Like you have spaces where you can do things, right? In Mudud or even outside Mududs and like the one and so on. Uh, and then the meds at the end as well. I didn't mention that to you guys, but Sheikh Musfa does that a lot.
yeah, yeah,
Or even
yeah.
5 4 3 2 4 3 2 1 with the
Yeah.
0 1 added or not. So try that. وأعتدنا لهم عذاب وأعتدنا لهم عذاب السعير.
وأعتدنا لهم عذاب السعير.
مهم. وأعتدنا لهم عذاب السعير.
وأعتدنا لهم عذاب السعير.
وللذين كفروا بربهم عذاب جهنم وبئس المصير.
وللذين كفروا بربهم عذاب جهنم وبئس المصير.
إذا ألقوا فيها سمعوا لها شهيقا وهي تفور.
إذا ألقوا فيها سمعوا لها شهيقا وهي تفور.
تكاد تميز من الغيظ.
تكاد تميز من الغيظ.
Okay. Does your voice go high? Have you tried like the A?
I find it quite difficult. I find it kind of,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. I'm matching you right now, so I'm
yeah,
reading higher. than I normally read. So if I
Okay.
go now to the A, my voice might break. But if I do it lower and my let me see. تكاد تميز من الغيظ كلما ألقي فيها فوج سألهم خزنتها ألم يأتكم نذير.
I can try that. تكاد تميز من الغيظ كلما ألقي فيها فوج سألهم خزنتها ألم يأتكم نذير.
Hassan, you can do it. Yeah. Your voice is higher than mine. So I'm right now matching yours, so it's a little bit high for me. Uh, قالوا بلى قد جاءنا نذير.
قال قالوا بلى قد جاءنا نذير.
قالوا بلى قد جاءنا نذير فكذبنا وقلنا ما نزل الله من شيء.
قالوا بلى قد جاءنا نذير فكذبنا وقلنا ما نزل الله من شيء
إن أنتم إلا في ضلال كبير.
إن أنتم إلا في ضلال كبير.
وقالوا لو كنا نسمع أو نعقل ما كنا في أصحاب السعير.
وقالوا لو كنا نسمع أو نعقل ما كنا في أصحاب السعير.
فاعترفوا بذنبهم فسحقا لأصحاب 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 السعير.
Last آية إن الذين
إن الذين يخشون ربهم بالغيب لهم مغفرة وأجر كبير.
مهم. إن الذين
إن الذين كفروا
إن
بربهم
إن الذين يخشون.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
إن الذين يخشون ربهم بالغيب لهم مغفرة وأجر كبير.
مهم. إن الذين
إن الذين يخشون ربهم بالغيب لهم مغفرة وأجر كبير.
أحسنت. So the more you try like different variations and so on, you'll feel, different things click for you, different things don't. Some things Sheikh Mustafa Ismail does, rahimahullah, and you can do it and it sounds good. Some things you try to do and it doesn't sound so good for you, or feels too much, or it feels too forced, or whatever. So all of this is experience building, which you get from more reading, either on your own or with myself or whatever. But
Definitely.
alhamdulillah, you're doing well. And I
Um,
saw your message. You said this is about like 75% from the course, which I
yeah,
appreciate
yeah.
to hear. Yeah.
Yeah, thank
Uh,
you. So it's really been helping a lot, I'll be honest. Because before, like I knew like what maqamat was generally, not really too much, but like doing the course so far as well, it's already opened up like so many. Because there's certain things like I kind of heard of or I knew of, but I didn't really like know enough about it. So after you explained it, it made so much more sense. And even like today's call, like just doing the practice of the different patterns and adding it in, it helped a lot. And I think improving. So if you don't mind, can I try something? If read something to you?
yeah, go ahead.
Maybe you might